What's going on, my over 15 sub round table? Woo! My name is Excaliber596 and welcome to part 2 of my Just How Strong is Link discussion. If you haven't watched part 1 already, please do yourself a favor and go watch it, because you might miss a few things that help this video make some kind of sense. Or don't, because I can't control what you do. Only you can prevent wildfires. I can't do shit. Now, in the last video, I discussed just how strong Link can be as his individual reincarnated states throughout the Zelda timeline. So in this video, I'd like to discuss the idea of forming a Link with the powers and items of every single Link combined into one single character, and see what it would be like. Basically a composite Link for those of you in the Versus Battle community, but for the fun of it, we'll just call this hypothetical hero the hero of all. Now, I'll be putting this video through multiple categories: the body, the weapons, the powers, and the items. The body will discuss what Link would be able to do physically without any sort of buffs from items. The weapons will discuss his main weapons of choice throughout the series and the powers they give him. The powers will discuss the magical powers and what he's been given as the mechanics of whatever game he's in. And the items will discuss all of the items at his disposal and what abilities they give him. Now, each time I talk about an item or a power, I'll add it to this cool little Hero of All pause screen showing the abilities in his possession. I'll also not be including any equipable stat-boosting items with similar effects to any other unless they fit on his body, and will only be giving the Hero of All the powers I feel are the most useful for combat or for conserving magic power. So let's get on with it! Now, when constructing the body of the Hero of All, we need to think of the base, the person himself, the naked hamburger for which all our condiments will be piled onto and packed between a delicious pretzel bun. God, I'm hungry! And I believe that a combination of the Hero of Wilds and the Goddess's Chosen Hero will make the best bam Link burger anyone could ever ask for. The Hero of Wilds for Breath of the Wild has shown to be the most athletic of all the Links, as he's scaled mountains, tamed rivers, and the ability Flurry Rush, which gives him superhuman reaction time. He also has shown the ability to master any weapon that he gets his hands on, wielding axes, spears, clubs, swords, dildo bat. Wait, what? Basically, if he could pick it up, it could be a weapon. And then the Goddess's Chosen Hero has the greatest amount of strength and skill, as shown when he single-handedly defeated Demise in Skyward Sword. And being a composite Link means he's experienced everything all of the Links have, so experience is no issue. So we'll be putting the Goddess's Chosen Hero as the base, and give him the athletic ability of the Hero of Wilds and the memory of all the other Links combined. Now that we have the main body set up, we can move on to the weapons. These are the main and final weapons of each Zelda game, the swords and the shields, the magical weapons that Link needs for his nappy time. Now, it's common in the Zelda series for Link to have multiple swords and shields at his disposal to swap out as he pleases in case one in his possession is insufficient. So it only makes sense that we allow the Hero of All possession of multiple items as well. For shields, however, we only really need one, and that's the Mirror Shield. The Mirror Shield is consistently the most powerful shield in the Zelda franchise, spanning across 8 different games as the final upgrade before finishing the game. However, the one from the Minish Cap in particular is the most powerful, as it converts any projectile into a laser that is reflected back at the attacker. Now, the swords that Link wields changes across multiple games, and many of them have different effects, but I will only be including the ones that have different magical properties that Link can use to give himself an edge, and I've narrowed these down to 3 legendary blades. The first of these is the Phantom Sword, which gives Link the ability to damage phantoms and beings on a spectral plane, and gives him an immunity to life-draining curses such as the one placed on the Temple of the Ocean King, thanks to the power of the Phantom Hourglass. The second sword in the Hero of All's possession is the legendary Four Sword, giving him the ability to form 3 separate clones of himself, each with the same amount of power he holds, as well as every item. Now, I'm sure you think you know what the last sword on the list is, but I want to explain a sort of honorable mention before I do so, because before I started researching this idea, I wanted to include the Bigoron sword from Ocarina. I mean, for a giant compensation joke, the Bigoron sword is, well, no joke. It has more destructive power than the Master Sword, and that's a pretty big deal in the Zeldaverse. However, after doing some research, I found that not only the Bigoron sword, but the iconic Master Sword are both completely redundant compared to one other sword in the Zelda franchise. One with twice the power of the Bigoron sword, and all the enchantments of the Master Sword, including the ability to fire sword beams, reflect evil energies that the Mirror Shield cannot, and cancel the immortality of evil beings. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the Golden Sword from Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds. As the final stage of the Master Sword, the Golden Sword is 4 times more powerful than it was before it was tempered by the dwarven swordsmiths of Kakariko Village and blessed by the cursed fairy of the Dark World. It is easily Link's most powerful weapon and is a perfect fit as the main weapon for the Hero of All. Now, in many Zelda games, Link tends to have some sort of gimmick. Some type of new power that allows him to complete puzzles and defeat bosses in a new and interesting way. Now, we've already discussed two of them in the form of the Phantom Hourglass, giving resistance to life-draining curses, and the Force Sword with the ability to create 4 links. But there are many that are not a result of the weapons, and more the result of a magical creature, power, or item. The first and most famous one is his ability to transform into a wolf in Twilight Princess, giving him increased agility, heightened jumping power, an incredible sense of smell that can even sense beings on a different plane of existence, and just being such a darn huggable pupper. The next ability in Link's arsenal is the ability to shrink in size due to the power of the cursed Minish sage Eslo in the Minish cap, who replaces the cap on Link's head with a bird hat thing that can likely warn him of any dangers from behind to repel sneak attacks. The third ability the hero of all possesses would be the ability to phase into any wall for a short period of time with the help of Ravio's bracelet and Link Between Worlds, making him practically untouchable for that period unless someone destroys the wall completely or until he runs out of energy. Or maybe you could just paint a mustache on his face, I don't know. Finally, Link also has the ability to cast spells with the help of multiple different teachers and items throughout the Zelda timeline. There's the Fairy spell, which transforms Link into a fairy, the Life spell heals, the Reflect spell increases his durability, the Quake medallion causes earthquakes, the Ether medallion summons blizzards, both Din's fire and Bombo's medallion create giant explosions of fire around him, Ferori's wind creates a warp point in any dungeon, the Shield spell, Nehru's love, and Daruk's protection create magical barriers, Mipha's grace can resurrect him if he were to die, Rivali's gale shoots him upward with a gust of wind, and Urbosa's fury summons lightning. All of these magical abilities alone make Link a very capable and unpredictable fighter. But trust me, folks, we've only scratched the surface of what he can use. The true bread and butter of a Link's arsenal is the toys that he plays with to continue his quests to save the land of Hyrule. Projectiles, stat buffs, weapons, magic wands, you name it, and Link's probably used it at some point.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
Now, without question, the hero of all would have all of these items at his disposal to use in any situation, but to keep this video from being an hour long, because we've all got depressing lives to go back to, I'm just going to list the ones I think would give Link the biggest edge in combat. Starting with projectiles, it goes without saying that any Link wouldn't be caught dead without a bow. Personally, I think the Sacred Bow from Skyward Sword is the best fit, as like the Bigoron Sword, it has more destructive power than the Master Sword, and is able to shoot arrows in a drill-like manner, making them even more powerful. And Link has used many different kinds of arrows that can take advantage of this feature. He's got fire, ice, and shock arrows for elemental damage, light and silver arrows for stunning and canceling the immortality of evil beings, and bomb and ancient arrows for sheer destructive capacity. I also think that the Hawkeye from Twilight Princess would make for a good add-on to the Goddess Bow, as it's basically a scope for extra aiming precision. Now, you could also put the Bow of Light in this spot, as it is kind of Zelda's equivalent to the Master Sword that Link has actually used before, and can create infinite light arrows, but that's up to you. Another item I feel is consistent to Link's arsenal with projectiles is the Boomerang. Specifically, I think that Gale Boomerang from Twilight Princess would be the most useful, as its path can be controlled by creating a small tornado that also gives Link some elemental wind damage to go along with his fire, ice, and lightning arrows. Finally, I think giving this Link some Deku Nuts and Bomb Shoes would be helpful, as they could be used to stun enemies with a quick flash of light and then take them by surprise with the self-moving bomb. Next up is the stat buffs, and boy does this elf got some bling! This was the main reason I set the rule that equipment items could only be placed if they can fit on his body, as giving him all of them would make him super buff and creepy in my eyes. Rings, gauntlets, tunics, bracelets, this guy knows how to spend his rupees in style. Now, it was really difficult to narrow the items down to just a few, but I think I got the main ones that fans should be happy with that still give Link some pretty insane buffs. First up is the Golden Gauntlets from Ocarina that increase his overall physical strength. The main reason I have for giving him this particular item is the Pillar feat, where Link picks up a pillar that likely weighs multiple tons in Ganon's castle. Now for durability, I have the Red Mail from Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, and the Magic Armor from Wind Waker. The Red Mail increases his overall durability by a whopping 75%, and the Magic Armor from Wind Waker, unlike the one from Twilight Princess, can stack onto Link's current armor set and makes Link lose rupees instead of actually taking damage. I also believe that Link should have access to his rings from the Oracle games, as he can have up to 5 that give him some pretty insane buffs. I'd like to think the 5 best ones are the Red Ring, which doubles Link's attack power, the Charge Ring to speed up the charge on his spin attack and hurricane attack, the Heart Ring level 2 for healing, the Power Ring level 3 to increase his attack power even more, and finally the Protection Ring, which makes any damage he takes only cost 1 heart. Now for maneuverability, I think the Pegasus Shoes from Link to the Past, the Mole Mitts from Minish Cap, and the Hover Boots and Iron Boots from Ocarina would be valuable assets to Link's inventory. The Pegasus Shoes allow him a quick burst of speed for a charge attack, the Mole Mitts allow him to dig underground, the Hover Boots let him walk on air, and the Iron Boots can help him keep his footing as he's about to be knocked back. Another couple of movement items I found useful are the Fire Shield earrings and the Water Dragon scale from Skyward Sword, as they give Link resistance to heated areas and allow him to breathe underwater, along with Rock's Feather from the Oracle games and the Paraglider from Breath of the Wild, as they allow him to jump higher and glide in the air respectively. For Link's weapons, I decided on 4 that would be the most useful to his arsenal. The Skull Hammer from Wind Waker for pure blunt damage, the Double Claw Shot from Twilight Princess for extra maneuverability and bringing enemies within range, the Fire Glove from Triforce Heroes to shoot flames without using magic, and finally the Bow Wow from Four Swords. Yup, you heard me right. Link has a Bow Wow as an item in Four Swords. It's such a fun little Mario reference. It's such a useful tool, too. It's basically the ball and chain from Twilight Princess, but with teeth. Not to mention that the Fire Glove shooting out fireballs makes the same sound Mario does with fire flowers, so yeah, I'm giving it these. It's my show, I do what I want. Now, in this spot, I would have put some of the wands that Link has used throughout his adventures, but as I looked through his items, it seems that his elemental arrows, mixed with the sacred bow, make them pretty redundant, especially considering the fact that the wands use up magic power and the arrows don't. There were only 2 that I really found useful in any way, and that's the Cane of Birna from Link to the Past that can create a barrier for extra defense, and the Cane of Pocky from Minish Cap can flip enemies to screw with their footing. I suppose you could also give him the nice Sand Rod from Link Between Worlds and the Water Rod from Triforce Heroes if you want to give him some limited environmental control, but they would be pretty situational and not overall very useful. Now, there are a few items that I wanted to save for last when talking about them, simply because of the sheer insanity of what they can do and how much they would be able to help the Hero of All in any fight. The first one is the Magic Cape from Link to the Past, which allows him to turn both invisible and intangible for a short period of time. This ability is monstrously useful in combat, especially for Link, as it quite literally makes him untouchable, even more so than Raphael's bracelet, and gives him time to formulate a strategy on how to defeat the opponent in front of him without any form of distraction. It may even allow him use of one of the many magical songs he learns throughout his journey, which would normally be useless in combat due to the time they take to perform, and that they give away any hiding places he may have. The second item that would be an incredible asset to the Hero of All is the Sheikah Slate, easily the most versatile item in the entire Zelda series due to the different runes in its programming. It can create infinite remotely detonated bombs, create ice pillars with Cryonis, control metal objects with Magnesis, shortly stop time for an item or enemy with stasis, and can even Deus Ex Machina a freaking motorcycle for Link in the form of the Master Cycle Zero. The amount of applications for these runes are endless, as shown by the gameplay in Breath of the Wild, where you can basically do almost anything with them. And the final item I believe that the Hero of All should have, and one I'm sure you've all been waiting for, is the Fierce Deity Mask from Majora's Mask. This is by far the largest power buff that Link has in his arsenal, as it transforms Link into the almighty Fierce Deity, which instantly buffed the Hero of Time from a Dwarf Star level plus fighter taking on Majora's Mask, Incarnation, and Wrath as an equal to absolutely manhandling him, putting him at least star level. But now this mask is being added onto a large star level Link with a +3 attack buff with the Power Ring and a 2x multiplier from the Red Ring, and the 4x more powerful Golden Sword for a grand total of 30 times his original power. This is putting Fierce Deity Link at some Solar System Plus, possibly even multi-Solar System levels of power. Now the main issue with this is that Link would then lose all of his defensive and offensive tools in exchange for the Fierce Deity Sword, basically making this a kind of glass cannon last resort if Link was ever in a bind. With all of, and I mean all of this in mind, the Hero of All would be one of the most well-rounded and versatile fighters in history. The applications for the items at his disposal are limitless and can be used to gain an advantage in just about any situation. You got an elemental weakness? Link can probably exploit it. Got a physical weakness? He can find a way to get to it. you have a specific power that is difficult to deal with, he can probably find a way to deal with it because that's what Link does on a practically daily basis, and now he has even more experience and tools than ever to figure out a way to bring you down a peg. And if you're evil and immortal, forget about it. The combination of the Golden Sword and the light arrows will bring you to your knees, basically making Link an anti-meta for evil. But the biggest aspect of Link's powers that give him an incredible advantage in any situation is his defenses. The combination of the magic armor, barrier spells, magic cape, and mirror shield make Link an extremely formidable and almost untouchable tank. And the protection ring, Mipha's Grace, and the heart ring make him practically immortal, constantly taking minimal amounts of damage and replenishing his health, and then being revived and repeating the process if Link can stall long enough for Mipha's Grace to recharge. All of these abilities combined allow Link even more time to formulate the strategy needed to find his opponent's weakness and exploit it. And if all else fails, he still has the Fierce Deity Mask as a last-ditch effort to finish the fight. Now, even though Link is as versatile and defensive as he is, it can only go so far. His biggest weakness is the limited nature of many of his abilities. First of all, his magic cape and many other items in his arsenal use up magic power, which is something that Link tends to have a very limited amount of and not very many ways of replenishing on his own, meaning he would have a limited amount of uses for some of his most useful abilities and items. Second, the powers bestowed upon him by the champions as well as the runes of the Sheikah Slate have limited uses before needing a considerable amount of time to recharge, especially Mipha's Grace, which will usually mean that Link can only get 2 chances to defeat his foe, the second life likely no longer having magic power. His arrows, bomb shoots, and Deku Nuts are also all limited resources unless he uses the Bow of Light, which can only create light arrows. Finally, the protection ring is kind of a double-edged sword, as any hit will do the same amount of damage even if it initially wouldn't, which means stronger attacks wouldn't do a lot to him, but weaker attacks would also do a lot more than they should. This, along with the fact that the magic armor runs on rupees, means that a lot of fast enough hits will drain his defenses. In terms of combat speed, Link isn't incredibly fast for his tier. The fastest he's been clocked is around relative to the speed of light due to him dodging the lasers of Beamos, who shoot actual laser beams going at these speeds. But there is a chance that he can be aim dodging here. However, he can definitely be scaled to be faster than lightning, as he's reacted to lightning in several games. With this in mind, anyone who has speeds faster than these, like the Flash, Sonic, or Pit, is very capable of swiftly depleting his rupees and his hearts with fast enough strikes, easily dispatching him unless he manages to pull off a Flurry Rush. Now, these weaknesses can be remedied by using the 4-sword instead of the Golden Sword, splitting Link into 4, but that would effectively split his power amongst the 4 links, as the 4-sword is comparable to the Master Sword, and thus 1/4 of the Golden Sword. Altogether, this means the outcome of any fight with the Hero Ball can boil down to whether or not you give Link access to certain items like magic potions, fairies, and rupees, and how he decides to handle himself against certain opponents. All in all, a combined Link is an extremely capable solar system level fighter, likely able to take on opponents much stronger than himself and have multiple ways of turning the tides in his favor and exploiting any weaknesses his opponents may have. But any character who can wait out his offenses or swiftly wear down his defenses will most certainly give him a bit of trouble. That's about all I have for this video. Do you agree with my analysis? Is there something useful that I may have missed because I'm a poopo-doodoo head? Whatever your views, tell me in the comments below. I hope you had a great freaking time. Make sure you like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my content, and I'll give you guys a call in the next council later.